The diner clock ticked softly above the counter, the smell of fresh coffee hanging in the air, when Emily Turner noticed something that made her heart freeze. She'd been pouring coffee for the man and his teenage son for barely 5 minutes, but in those 5 minutes, she saw what no one else had. The boy's pale face wasn't just tiredness. The slight twitch in his fingers, the way his lips trembled, it wasn't nerves. Emily had seen it before, once when she was just a scared girl watching her brother collapse on the kitchen floor. Back then, the doctors were too late. But not this time. Not if she could help it. She didn't know it yet, but she was about to save the life of one of the world's wealthiest heirs. Before the world even knew he was dying, Emily had been working the night shift at Marty's Diner for 6 years. It wasn't glamorous, but it was steady. She'd learned the rhythm of late-night regulars, the truck drivers, insomniac students, broken souls searching for warmth in a mug of coffee. That night, the man who walked in didn't fit any of those. His tailored suit looked out of place among the flickering neon lights and chipped booths. His son, maybe 16, followed behind quietly, his eyes glassy and distant. Emily greeted them with her usual gentle smile, masking the exhaustion that came from double shifts and dreams she could no longer afford. "Coffee?" she asked, her voice calm but kind. "Sure," the man said absently, scrolling through his phone. "And something light for my son." The boy didn't look up. He sat slumped forward, his fingers trembling as he picked at the edge of the menu. Emily felt a pang of worry. Maybe he was just tired. But something in her gut, a deep, almost maternal instinct, told her otherwise. She'd seen those tremors before, that glazed look that came moments before her brother's heart stopped when she was 14. She tried to shake the memory away, focusing on pouring the coffee. But when she returned with their order, she noticed the boy's breathing, uneven, shallow, and quick. "Hey, sweetheart," she said softly, crouching down beside him. "You okay?" The father looked up, irritated. "He's fine. Just jet lag." But Emily's eyes stayed on the boy. "No," she said quietly, "he's not." In that instant, the boy's head drooped forward. His spoon clattered onto the table. Emily dropped the tray and rushed to him, catching his shoulders just before he fell. "Call an ambulance," she shouted, her voice slicing through the diner's quiet hum. The man froze. What's happening?" Emily didn't answer. She laid the boy down on the floor, her hands steady though her heart pounded like thunder. She checked his pulse, faint. Skin clammy. His lips had turned a soft blue. "He's in shock," she whispered to herself, recognizing the symptoms. "Severe hypoglycemia, maybe worse. Do you have orange juice?" "Sugar," she called to Marty, who stood frozen behind the counter. He stammered, "Why yeah, right away." Within seconds, Emily mixed the juice with sugar, coaxing the boy to sip it. His father hovered helplessly, his expensive watch glinting under the harsh diner lights. "He was just checked by doctors last week," he said desperately. "They said he was fine." Emily didn't look up. "They missed something," she said, her voice low but certain. "Come on, stay with me, honey, just breathe." Minutes passed like hours. The boy's breathing steadied, color slowly returning to his cheeks. When the ambulance arrived, the paramedics confirmed it: undiagnosed type 1 diabetes, dangerously low blood sugar. If she hadn't acted, one said to the father, he might not have made it another 10 minutes. The billionaire stood there in stunned silence. For the first time in years, he looked small, just a father, trembling, holding his son's hand. "You saved my boy," he whispered. Emily simply nodded, her eyes glistening. "I just did what anyone would have done." But she was wrong. Not anyone would have noticed. Not anyone would have cared enough to acte. In the weeks that followed, life went on. The diner stayed busy. Emily returned to her shifts, wiping tables and refilling cups. She didn't think much about that night, until one morning when a sleek black car pulled up outside. The same man stepped in, wearing a humble smile instead of a suit. His son followed, looking healthier, brighter. "Emily," the man said quietly, "we never got to thank you properly." She smiled politely, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "You don't have to, really." But he set an envelope on the counter. "I insist." Inside was a letter, handwritten, genuine, and a folded check that made her knees go weak. "For your brother's foundation," it read, "and for all the lives you'll save next." Tears welled in her eyes. "How did you?" He smiled. "You told my son about your brother that night." He remembered. Emily clutched the letter, her throat tight with emotion. For years, she'd carried the guilt of not being able to save her brother. But in that moment, she realized, maybe saving this boy was her second chance. The story spread quietly at first, a waitress who saved a billionaire's son when doctors couldn't. But what mattered most wasn't the fame or the money. It was the simple truth that sometimes, the heart sees what the eyes, and even science, can miss. Weeks later, the diner installed a small plaque by the counter, in honor of Emily Turner, who reminded us all that kindness can save lives. Every night, as Emily poured another cup of coffee, she'd glance at that plaque and smile softly to herself. Because she now knew that even the smallest act of care could ripple far beyond what anyone could imagine, and somewhere, in the quiet hum of the diner, you could almost hear the heartbeat of hope, steady, strong, and alive once more.